Hello there, guys. I've got a fantastic book for you today. An absolute fantastic book. This has got to be, excuse me, my top 10 books of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. It's from a guy called Naval Ravikant. And I never heard of this guy. I'll be honest, I've never heard of this guy before. And the book is called The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. My pronunciation is terrible. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. Yes, I've done it. Okay, so the reason why I feel like this book, I started reading this book, is for one reason and one reason only. Tim Ferriss read the foreword. Tim Ferriss never, ever, ever reads a foreword. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, well, this has got to be special. The one downside of this book is that you can't read it passively, listen to it passively. You can't. You have to take notes. You are. In the end, I stopped running and started walking because there's no way I could listen to this book. I couldn't listen to it while running because there were so many notes. I'm just going to run through a few of these notes with you. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 notes. I never have 16 notes in a book ever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through these, and then the ones that I think deserve special attention, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate episode about them because I think it's that important for you, for me. But please read it. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant. I've been practicing that as well. Would you believe I've actually been practicing it before I came on air? On air, ooh, like I'm on telly. Yeah. So for me, it is a book that everybody please read. When my kids are growing up, I'm gonna pay them like 20 quid a book to read, and I'm gonna ask them questions about the book. And this is one of the books that I will insist that they read. Okay, seek wealth, not status. Seek wealth, not status. And so many people have it the upside down. But they seek status. They seek something that doesn't really matter. By the way, this guy is like a philosopher. He's a very, very successful entrepreneur. He's probably one of the most happiest people in the world. He's just incredibly rounded individual. And as soon as I finished his book, I wanted to learn more about him. Focus on getting specific knowledge. If society can train or teach you, it can be taught to someone else. Specific knowledge is taught by apprenticeships, not school. It can't be bought or outsourced. Oh my God, listen to that again. I've been putting off doing this episode because I knew that it would give me prods to make me thought-provoking. I'm terrible at English. Right, so focus on getting specific knowledge. If society can train or teach it, it can be taught to somebody else. Specific knowledge is taught by apprenticeships, not schools. It can't be bought or outsourced. So specific knowledge can't be bought. It can't be outsourced. And so it's like me, specific knowledge for me is the podcast. Nobody else can do the podcast. I have to do the podcast. And so therefore, the apprenticeship that I had was doing over 1,000 episodes and getting used to it. My first episode, my hands were clammy. I was sweating. I recorded. It was a 5-minute episode for the betting guy. And I couldn't get my words out. I couldn't do it. And don't get me wrong, I haven't got much better now, but I feel like, well, I've got better. That's a bit unfair. I've got a lot more comfortable, and I just say it how it is. And, as I've said, I can't even pronounce the name of his book, and my English isn't always great, but I feel as though I'm myself. I feel like I'm entertaining. So yeah, that's number one. That's number two, sorry. This comes up and up again. If you need a job doing that is less than your hourly rate, outsource it. I can't agree more with this. If you need a job doing that is less than your hourly rate, you must outsource it. It's absolutely phenomenal advice. And what is your hourly rate? Well, he goes on to say, does Naval, in this book, he goes on to say that most people don't realize what their hourly rate is. They might put it as £50 an hour, £10 an hour, or whatever. But you need to dramatically increase the hourly rate because you are worth more. Your time is worth more. And for me, I know that I'm going to put it £1,000 an hour. £1,000 an hour. He puts his at like £100,000 an hour, something like that. And so if any task costs less than £1,000 an hour, I don't want to do. There's a caveat. I don't want to do then I should be outsourcing it. I shouldn't be doing it myself. And yes, I know most people are going to go, well, how can you afford £1,000 an hour? Well, yeah, I get that, but the principle is the same. The principle is correct. 99% of what you learn is wasted. Look at school. 99% of it, I would go further than that. 99.9% of what you learn at school doesn't matter. For me, it's all about social skills at school. I don't, the basics, the foundations are important. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Yes, I get that. That's important, the foundations. However, the rest of it, I mean, I've got a lot of school teachers as friends who are other school mums and dads, and I love them to death, absolutely love them. And it's nothing to do with teachers, it's the curriculum that they teach. It's just not fit for purpose anymore. I wouldn't have a problem with taking Zach and Kai out of school for months on end. It wouldn't bother me. The fines wouldn't bother me. The only thing that's stopping me is the wife. She doesn't really agree, because we're all supposed to just be lemmings and lambs and sheep and just follow and just accept that this is the way forward. No, do you know what? I know that myself and the wife, we're going to probably have a lot of discussions about this in the future, because I want to take my kids to India, appreciate India, to maybe do some sort of humanitarian work in India, some charity work, something where we're giving for nothing. We're not getting anything back, but we are getting something back because we're educating, we're learning, we're seeing another society. We're seeing another civilization almost. It's another way of living. We're seeing all that. And that is educating us. That is giving us a much rounder, a much better understanding than sitting there and learning about religious education or history or geography. It is crazy don't get me started on schools. So I don't respect schools anywhere near as enough as, and I think school teachers do an amazing job. It's a curriculum that they're following. One of my friends is a school teacher, head of year, and he works ungodly amount of hours. He puts in so much effort, so much work, he cares so much. And I think that's absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant. But it's a curriculum that's failing the teachers, that's failing the kids. And we're coming out of school and we haven't got we don't take financial literacy, for example, we don't teach it and stuff like that. It just drives me mad. Anyway, I digress. You must own equity, business or shares. You have to earn money while you sleep. So you must be earning. He goes, this is such a good book. This is such a good book. I could have wrote takeaways. You must earn equity. You must have equity, business, shares. You must be able to earn while you sleep. Because otherwise, if you're just earning for an hourly rate, if that's what your job is, I understand that I'm going to alienate a lot of people, because a lot of people in this audience will be having most definitely doing hour to hour, and they'll be paid on the hours amount of work to do. I never ever want that for Zach and Kai. I never want them to be doing Zach, Kai. I never want you to be doing that. You can't be doing this, because there's only a limit of opportunities that you can get. I'm not saying happiness, because happiness comes in all sorts of different forms. But I know for me, if I'm handcuffed and say I've got to be here for 8 hours, and if I'm there for 8 hours, I only earn this much. And if I take any more days off, and 26 days a year or 30 days a year, whatever it is, then I don't earn. I've got to take it as unpaid leave, if you're allowed to take it as unpaid leave. So you must have equity. You must have shares. You must have a business. You must have something that makes you money, that allows you to make money when you're not there. Or as Naval says, when you're sleeping. That is crucial. If you can train, if they can train you to do it, eventually they will train a computer to do it, a machine to do it. Oh, again, another one that I'm putting over there to, I'll put Naval at the bottom, Naval. I absolutely love that. And that is so true. I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next 10 years, next 5 years, 15 years, but it will happen. It will happen. The jobs that we're getting trained for now at school is crazy, because a lot of them, a computer will be doing it. We'll have universal credit. My mom's going mad about this universal credit. We will have universal credit, because there won't be the jobs to go around. There will not be delivery drivers. They will not be taxis. They will not be lorry drivers. These will all be automated. They'll be manless. There'll be so many things that will be manless. So all that industry will have gone. Yes, with technology, it brings up and opens up new job opportunities. Of course it does. But I strongly believe that there will not be enough jobs to go around. So therefore, there'll be universal credit that we give to people. And it's going to have to be the way around. In Las Vegas, this was 3 or 4 years ago. There was a bar that you just went up to. There was no staff. There was just a computer. It was a big arm. There'll be no chefs. There'll be no waiters, waitresses. There'll be no front of house. Well, there might be front of house, depending, because obviously some people like that. But the opportunities will be less. The technology leaps that we're taking right now is going to be fundamentally different. The world is going to be different. I've put this in capitals, so this must be good. You're never going to get rich renting out your time. Ah, yes, I love that one. Again, that is going in my motivational ones. Again, you know what I'm going to say. That is all about swapping time for money. We don't do that. We don't do that. You can do that, but you'll never be rich. You'll never be wealthy. And you can say, well, what about doctors and surgeons? I don't consider doctors and surgeons wealthy. What about the best ones in the world, Dean? Well, they don't get wealthy by that. They might be earning 250 grand a year, 300 grand a year, 400 grand a year. But do I want to be earning that in 10 years' time? No, of course I don't. I want to be earning more than that. And I know that I can. James, JP, hey JP, at work, he said, Dean, you apologize too much on the podcast. You apologize too much for talk. I know I do, but I don't want to come across like a dick and say, I don't want to earn 400 grand, I don't want to earn more than 400 grand. But that is me. I don't want to be earning that. No, absolutely not. In 5 years' time, I don't want to be earning that. I want to be earning much more than that. So yes, but doctors, and also they do it because then they invest that money. They invest that money into something else, and then they're earning money while they sleep. So they're getting stocks, they're getting shares, they're getting equity in maybe a business, or they're investing it in shares, or they're investing it in housing, real estate, and so therefore they are earning money after they sleep, when they were sleeping. And so that's interesting. But they're also doing it. They're doing it to save lives as well. They're doing it for a different cause. So he's talking about getting wealthy, getting rich, and you're never going to get rich rinsing out your time. It's obvious. It really, there's a limit. There's always a limit. There's always a ceiling. If you're running out your time, there's always a ceiling. And with your mind, not with your time. And with your mind, not with your time. Again, Jesus, I'm going to have to put this on there as well, because I've got so much to say about it. And with your time, and with your mind, not with your time. So it's basically saying that you've got to be results-based. It's results-based. I'm going to write this down to make sure I can talk about this more as well. It's results-based, not time-based. Sorry about this, guys. So it's results-based, not time-based. What does that mean? It means that what happened the other day? Oh yeah, there was a handyman that came around to our house. Absolutely phenomenal handyman, unbelievable, best I've ever seen. And so he did a job for us. I can't remember. It was fitting a new dishwasher, but the dishwasher was different size to the old one, and so he had to cut the cupboards and and he was there an hour. And so we got the bill, and the bill was like 75 quid. I was like, fucking hell, 75 quid. 75 quid. He was there like 45 minutes. But then I've reframed it and thought, wait about a minute. If he came and said, yeah, I can do that, 75 quid. I was like, 75 quid? Are you sure? That's like 4 hours work, 5 hours work. It was because of its expertise that he did it quicker. The result was still the same, but he did it quicker. So I'd have been happier if he'd have been slogging away for 4 hours and then give me a bill for 75 quid or whatever it was. I'd have been happier. But why? It's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. He did it quicker. He was out my house, and he was. So I was like, fucking hell, yeah, there you go, mate. 75 quid or whatever. I can't remember the exact amount, but yeah, it was. So it was an ungodly amount per hour. But then I was thinking, hang about a minute. That guy has accrued that knowledge over time, over years, and he's phenomenal. And so therefore, if he's done that quickly, he deserves everything he gets. And so I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. And so you've got to aim with your mind and not with your time. It can't be, you can't, it's got to be results based. It can't be for your time. So for example, if I did some coaching for somebody for a self-storage, I could literally see their self-storage and I could think, right, okay, I know one. I've got a story about that. I'll tell a story on the podcast. The hammer story. Oh, sorry. I'll tell you what. I'm going to pause. I'm going to write this down. 1 second. Okay, we're back again. Right. So yeah. So I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen with this book because it's such a dynamic book. There's so many different twists and turns and places we can go. It's such a brilliant book. So I knew this would happen. So yeah, I just had to write down basically I could go into a self-storage company and I could see the figures. I could spend maybe an hour looking at stuff, looking at the quotes, looking at everything to do. And because I am that anal about self-storage, I could then say, okay, if you do this differently, then you get 15% more money in terms of revenue. So I could potentially earn them an extra 50 grand a year, quite comfortably, or more than that. And then I would put my bill in and say, it would be like an hour. And I put my bill in for maybe 5 grand or 10 grand or whatever it is, or a grand. And they said, whoa. You're only here an hour. How is it £1,000? How is it £2,000? Whatever it is. Well, yeah, but it's not about results. It's not about what I did. It's not about how much time I spent there. It's about the results I did. Results I got you. I got you the results. If you pay me £1,000, I give you 50 grand. Sure, that's good, isn't it? It's a great investment. So yeah, and with your mind, not with your time. So therefore, I'm educating my mind all the time. That's what I'm doing all the time. Today, I'm going to Scarborough. And I'm not. It's not a Saturday when I'm recording this. It's a Wednesday. Yeah, it's a Wednesday. It's coming out a week on Saturdays, this episode. So I've recorded it. So I'm going to, all I'm going to do is I'm going for a run in Scarborough and I'm going for a walk. And I'm listening, educate myself. I'm earning with my mind. Because I'm going to educate myself. And there might be something I learned today that I can implement in my business that will make me X amount. So that's what we do. Oh, right. Find an hourly rate and increase it. Don't waste your time arguing with the electrician or taking things back that are below your hourly rate. Again, I've got to bloody do an episode about this one as well. So basically, find your hourly rate and make sure that you stick to it. It's like I've just bought a surf and slide or whatever, a zip and slide or something, and it's punctured. It cost me £100, right? The wife is going to go mental when I say this, but for me, I might as well buy another one. Yes. I know that I know that for people who are educated the same way as I'm educated, I can come across like annoying. I get that. But for me, it isn't worth me packaging it up, taking it down to the local post office, sending it back, waiting for another delivery, speaking to them on the phone, saying, look, it's ripped. I might as well buy a fucking another one. I might as well buy another one. £100. So what? Bush. Who cares? I might as well buy another one. Why would I waste my time for £100? It could cost me 2 hours, £50 an hour. Nah, my time's worth more than that. So why would you? Yeah. So that for me is a big one. And so I'm going to write that one down as well. And I'm going to put naval again. I hope I'm pronouncing this word. Naval, not naval, naval. Right. An old boss told him, you're never going to be rich because you're smart. Please buy this book. Please buy this book. I Phil Scaife, one of my friends, I said, as soon as I was reading it, I was like, you've got to read this book, Phil. Please read it. I'm going to actually ring him on the way to Scarborough and see if he read this book. An old boss told him, you're never going to be rich because you're smart. Someone will always offer you just enough to work for them. I've got to do a separate episode on that as well. I'm sorry about all these separate episodes. I've got a friend, and the friend, if he's listening right now, he will know who I'm talking about. Another friend of mine who listens to this will know I am talking about the same friend as well. And it's absolutely true. It's absolutely correct. The smarter you are, that's why people in school who I know so many people who were smarter than me at school, and they really lose and find me, absolutely lose and find me, but different smarts, but they lose and find me. But they're never going to be wealthy, never going to be rich, never going to start their own business, because somebody will always offer them just enough to stay where they are, to stay in their lane. And why wouldn't they? If I had somebody in my company who was smarter than me, I've got 3 people who are smarter than me in my company, but I'm going to offer them just enough to stay, to stop them going elsewhere. I know that Angela, one of them, that sounds disrespectful. One of my staff, one of my team, I hate calling them staff. One of my team, she wanted to be an accountant. And I thought, do you know what? It's my job to make sure that I give her the standard of living good enough so she doesn't want to be an accountant anymore. And it's my job. If I reach that barrier, fantastic for me. If I don't reach that barrier, fantastic for Angela. I wish her all the best. And because I want her to be happy. I want my team to be happy. But why wouldn't you? If you've got somebody in your team that's smart, got to keep them there. This is good as well. Sharks eat well, but they are likely surrounded by other sharks. What does that mean? It means that if you're a shark, if you're taking advantage of people, guess what? You will be with people who are doing exactly the same, and so therefore, you have there is an opportunity for you to get taken advantage of, eaten by the sharks that you hang around with. The more desire you have for an outcome, the less you can trust your decision. Quote. That's one of the quotes. I'm just going to, there's no point listening to motivated entrepreneurs anymore because all of them are going to be literally this Naval quote. Because it's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. This is probably one of the worst episodes I've ever recorded. Even in the betting guy days, this is probably one of the worst episodes because I'm just pausing like going, oh yeah, that is so good. That is so good. I knew this episode would be like this. I knew that this would happen with this episode because he's just I almost want to read it again. He's got me buzzing inside. I've got goose pimples. Look at my little arms. I've got goose pimples. That's for people on that was watching it on YouTube. I'm really, really enjoying this. This is right. This, how you're seeing me now, this is the real me. This is in my head. This is what I'm like all the time. You're lucky you can get away from me. I'm stuck with me 24 hours a day. I'm like, oh, especially when I read something like this. I'm just so excited by it. It's really good. The more you desire, the more desire you have for an outcome, the less you can trust your decisions because we're emotionally invested in that decision. We're emotionally invested in the outcome. And so therefore you can't trust your decision. That is why I'm a massive, massive advocate of having masterminds, having mentors, having people you know can who are maybe one step ahead of you or just equal to you, just somebody who you can actually talk to who outside the jar, because when you're inside the jar, you can't read the label. It's a brilliant book. This is a brilliant book. You have great ideas when you're bored. Have one day a week doing nothing apart from thinking. Great advocate for this. Absolutely massive advocate. I have great ideas when I'm walking around. Today, I'm hoping I'm gonna have some fantastic ideas about certain things. Praise specifically, criticize generally. Phenomenal. I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm going to bore you, but that will be another podcast that I will do. Jesus Christ, you're going to be bored of this guy soon. He is fundamentally one of the best human beings I've ever listened to. If you can't decide, the answer is no. I love that. If you can't decide, the answer is no. There's so many things I put myself in for. And another way of putting it is for example, if someone's asking you to do something in a year's time, 6 months' time, right? The problem is that your brain thinks, yeah, 6 months, I'll deal with it later. Yeah, fine. Yeah, no worries. Put it in my diary. I'll do it. Yeah, fine. But the problem is that's okay. However, the problem becomes then that 6 months becomes tomorrow. So what you should be really asking yourself is, if they asked me to do it tomorrow, would I do it? And I promise you, the answer will be no a lot more times than it's yes. So a lot more times, the answer will be no. There'll be many more no's than yeses if you think of it that way. In terms of, hopefully you get my point. Most of surviving comes from avoidance, i.e. cold showers. Don't know what you mean there, Dean. Most of surviving comes from avoidance, i.e. cold showers. I believe I mean that basically the magic happens outside your comfort zone. Get out your comfort zone, because you never ever want to be in the comfort zone all the time where you're not putting yourself out there. Do you know what this actually is a really good thing that I do want to talk to you guys about, because it's interesting. You listen to all school mums and dads on the sidelines and they're shouting, get stuck in, do this, do that, do this. And most of them, they're living their life through their kids, because they don't want their kids to be like them, because they didn't take the risk. They didn't really go head on into something. And so they don't want their kids to be the same. And so it comes out in different ways. It's so interesting watching and listening to parents, psychologically speaking, because they don't even know they're doing it. It's a subconscious behavior. It's not a learned behavior. It's a subconscious behavior through what you've done. It's like when I tell Zach, when Zach's uncomfortable to do something, I'm thinking, well, push you, mate, push you. You've got to do something. You've got to do things that are uncomfortable. We've all got to do things that are uncomfortable. And then I think, okay, but am I eating my own medicine? Am I drinking my own medicine? Am I literally doing what I say I'm going to do? Because if I'm not, how have I got the right to tell Zach to do it? And so many people out there, so many mums and dads don't drink their own Kool-Aid. They don't get stuck in. They haven't got stuck in. They've never been a good footballer. They haven't put themselves out there. They haven't been part of a team because it's scary. It's scary, isn't it? And so I often question myself. Everything I say to Zach and Kai, I'm thinking, well, do I do that? And the answer is, in the most part, I don't know, most part, a lot of it, yes. Do I put myself out there? Yeah, I open myself to criticism by this podcast. So many people when I'm walking around Beverly now, they know more about me than probably some of my closest friends. If you listen to the podcast, you will know more about me. If you listen to every single episode, you'll know more about me than my closest friends, because my closest friends will not be listening to this podcast. They get enough of me already. You probably, my wife don't listen to it, so you will know things about me that my wife don't know me about. So do I put myself out there? Yes, the podcast. Yes, speaking. Do I enjoy doing it? I think I love it when it's over. But do I enjoy the build up to being on stage? No, I shit my pants. I'm absolutely fucking bricking it. And so I do put myself out there in that sort of instance. So, but most people don't. Most people are wanting and needing their kids to do something that they haven't done themselves, and they can't. They haven't the awareness to process it, that they're asking their kids to do something that they wish they'd have done themselves, but they didn't. But they haven't got the awareness to realize that they're doing that. And so it's so interesting, really, really interesting. So maybe that's what I meant. Most of surviving comes from avoidance, i.e. cold showers. So yeah, we're surviving because we're avoiding, but we're not really living, and therefore we should do things more that fear us. I don't know. Maybe that's what I thought. Anyway, guys, this has been an absolute mammoth of an episode. I was hoping this was going to be 10 minutes. Right. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're still here by this point, then you are really nuts. You are absolute. You must have something better to do with your life. You must really do. Right. Really glad. And Jojo, my awesome virtual assistant, I appreciate you listening to all these. It must drive you mad as well. So yeah, thank you very much for editing all this. Well, not editing it, but making the show notes and stuff and listening to it all, because we don't actually do any editing. Right. Thank you, guys, girls. I will speak to you later. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. Hope you have too. See you later. Bye-bye.